In the beginning, God created Adam and Eve, the first humans, and placed them in the Garden of Eden, a paradise on earth. They lived in harmony with God and nature, but their disobedience changed everything. Their story is one of love, temptation, and tragedy. It's a tale of how humanity's first parents fell from grace, and how their actions shaped the course of human history. But have you ever wondered what happened in Adam and Eve's final hours? What were their thoughts, feelings, and regrets as they faced the consequences of their actions? The Bible reveals a fascinating and often overlooked account of their last days, a story that sheds light on the human condition and God's mercy. As we examine the final hours of Adam and Eve, we'll uncover a narrative of sorrow, redemption, and hope. We'll witness the emotional struggle of two people who once had it all, only to lose everything. Their story serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of obedience to God. The fate of humanity hung in the balance during Adam and Eve's final hours. What they did, and what God did, would change the course of history forever. Adam and Eve's final hours were a culmination of a series of events that led to their downfall. It began with temptation and deception. The serpent, a cunning and subtle creature, manipulated Eve into doubting God's word. He promised her that eating the forbidden fruit would open her eyes to new knowledge and make her like God. Eve, convinced by the serpent's lies, shared the fruit with Adam. This single act of disobedience shattered the harmony between God and humanity. Sin entered the world, and with it, death and suffering. As time passed, Adam and Eve's relationship with God deteriorated. They hid from him, afraid of confrontation. Their once perfect world was now marred by guilt, shame, and fear. The circumstances that led to their downfall were a combination of pride, curiosity, and a desire for independence. They wanted to decide for themselves what was good and evil, rather than trusting God's wisdom. Their actions had far-reaching consequences, affecting not only their own lives but also the lives of their descendants. The stage was set for a tragic finale, one that would forever change the course of human history. The day of reckoning arrived, and Adam and Eve stood before God, their hearts heavy with guilt and shame. The atmosphere was tense, the air thick with unspoken words. God confronted them, his voice a mix of sorrow and justice. "What have you done?" he asked, already knowing the answer. Adam, trying to shift the blame, pointed to Eve. "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Eve, feeling cornered, blamed the serpent. "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." Their excuses fell flat, and God's judgment followed. Adam and Eve realized too late that their actions had consequences, not just for themselves, but for their relationship with God and the world around them. As God pronounced their sentence, Adam and Eve felt the weight of their mistakes. They were banished from the garden, separated from the only home they had ever known. Their hearts ached with regret, their minds reeling with the thought of a future without God's direct presence. Tears flowed as they grasped the magnitude of their loss. They had traded paradise for a life of hardship and struggle. Their final confrontation with God left them with a deep sense of sorrow, a sorrow that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. The consequences of Adam and Eve's actions were far-reaching and devastating. Their disobedience had shattered the harmony between God and humanity, introducing sin and death into the world. As they left the garden, they felt the full weight of their mortality. Their final moments in paradise were marked by sorrow and regret. They knew they would never again experience the joy and intimacy they had with God. The impact on humanity was profound. Adam and Eve's descendants inherited a world cursed by sin and death. The perfect creation was now marred by suffering, pain, and evil. Their story became a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers of disobedience and the importance of trusting God. The consequences of their actions would be felt for generations to come, a constant reminder of the high cost of sin. As Adam and Eve faced their final moments, they knew their legacy was one of tragedy and loss. Yet, even in death, they found hope. God had promised a Redeemer, one who would restore the relationship between God and humanity. Their story didn't end in despair but in anticipation. The aftermath of their actions set the stage for the greatest story ever told, the story of redemption, forgiveness, and God's unwavering love for humanity. The story of Adam and Eve's final hours is a poignant reminder of the human condition. Their tale of love, temptation, and tragedy serves as a warning about the dangers of disobedience and the importance of trusting God. As we reflect on their story, we're reminded that our actions have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for those around us and for generations to come. we're also reminded of God's mercy and love, even in the face of our mistakes. Adam and Eve's story is our story. We're all descendants of the first humans, and we all share their struggles and weaknesses, but we also share their hope, the hope of redemption, forgiveness, and a restored relationship with God. As we close this chapter on Adam and Eve's final hours, we're left with a sense of awe and reverence for the God who loves us despite our flaws. We're reminded to cherish our relationship with Him, to trust in His wisdom, and to follow His guidance. In the end, Adam and Eve's story is not just a tale of two people, it's a testament to the human experience. It's a reminder that our lives have purpose, meaning, and significance. Not because of our achievements, but because of God's love for us.